Alright guys, this is your review for the first two lessons of chapter 5. Number 4, remember what we're going to do with this one is like the fourth root of 81, we can put that in our calculator to check, right? Because that's just a number. So if you do that, the fourth root of 81 is 3, because 3 times, that's really, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or how many over times? 3 to the fourth power is 81. And then remember what you're going to do with the exponents is you're just going to divide them by the root. So like 20 divided by 4 is going to be x to the fifth power, and 8 divided by 4 is going to be y to the second power. Right, the same thing on number 2. I'm going to do the cube root of 27, if I don't know it in my calculator, which again actually happens to be 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. That one was just a coincidence. This time my root is 3, so 15 divided by 3 is going to be x to the fifth power, and 24 divided by 3 is going to be y to the eighth power. Okay, so that's what you're going to do on 1 and 2. Number 3, write it in radical form. So notice how the exponent is only on the x, so the 3 is not going to be under a root. We're just going to write it out like this 3 right here. The denominator, so the 8, that's going to be my root. So it's going to be the 8th root of x, and then this 3 is going to stay an exponent, so to the third power. And that's the answer to number 3. All right, number 4. Honestly, we talked about how to put those exponential exponents in our calculator. Remember, you're going to use this button that looks like that, 20 to the 1/2 power times 20 to the 1/2 power. Or we can use that rule we learned yesterday, and we can add and make that 20 to the 1/2 plus 1/2, right? We can add those two together, which is just 20 to the first power, or 20. So regardless of your method, you should get 20 as the solution to the number 4. Number 5, same thing. Really, I just wanted to make sure you were comfortable with using your technology here on this one. That is the same thing as we talked about as the square root, of 16, right? Because 2 is that's the root there. So the square root of 16, but remember we usually don't write the 2 there. So the answer is 4 for this one, so B would be the correct answer. Again, you can just put 16 to the 1/2 power, right? You can in your calculator. Same thing on number 6. Number 6, if you do the square root of 6 times the square root of 2, right? We're multiplying those two together. Your calculator is going to tell you the answer is 2 square root of 3. So what we're going to do there. So this one's the same thing. We talked about this one yesterday. The square root of 20 plus the square root of 45 minus the square root of 5 should give me, I'm trying to do this on my head and I can't, so give me just a second. So this is 2 on the square root of 5. This is 3 on the square root of 5. And this is 1 on the square root of 5. Plus, minus, that's 5. So that's going to be 4 on the square root of 5 is the correct answer. Again, you can check that one in your calculating device. Number 8, you just about have to do number 8 in your calculating device. I'm fairly certain this one is going to be the 1.3. Fairly certain. Same thing on number 9. Now number 9, we talked about how you can either put it in the calculator as is. Just be careful where your negative's at. Notice how there aren't any parentheses, so you're more than welcome to not put parentheses. If I give you one with parentheses, you have to put parentheses. Or you can change it to a root, right? I can do the cube root of negative 27 to the second power. We talked about how I like to do it that way because that's the one I can do in my head, whereas I can't do the other one in my head. What is that? That's negative 3 squared, so it's 9. So the correct answer is 9 on this one. Again, we know how to use that exponent button, or we know how to use that root button. And number 10, the last one, this is the one that we did yesterday. Okay, so let's take it one step at a time. Again, the first part we can't do anything with, so the negative 2m to the 1/2 power is going to stay negative 2m to the 1/2 power like that, just come down. This 2 is going to be multiplied or put on everything. And so I have a 5, I have an m, and I have an n. So it's going to be times 5 to the second times m to the 1/2 to the second times n to the 1/4 to the second, right? So like I put all of those, so I put that 2 on each one of those terms. All right, now we can see here that the -2 and the 5 squared are my just numbers, right? Those are the coefficients, the bases, whatever we wanted to call them. So -2 times, that's going to be -50 if you multiply that out. -2 times 5 to the second power is -50. Also, I know right here, 1/2 times 2 is 1, and 1/4 times 2 is 1/2, right? So I'm going to go ahead and multiply those together. So that means that's going to be like this is still m to the 1/2. And this right here turns into m to the first power. And this is n to the 1/2 power. Okay, so one more time, I multiplied this and this. My highlighter's really wide. Sorry about that. The m to the 1/2 and the m to the 1/2 times 2. So I went ahead and multiplied the half times 2 and got 1. And then the n to the 1/4 times 2, and 1/4 times 2 is 1/2. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is I need to combine this m and this m. All right, so the -50 is going to stay. It's still going to be -50. I'm going to add, and I know again there's an understood 1 right here, so I'm doing 1/2 plus 1 right there to combine these two. And just like yesterday, 1/2 plus 1 is 1.5, but I really need it to be 3/2. Because it has to be, so I can change it to a radical in a second. So that's going to be m to the 3/2. And this n's not going to change any, n to the 1/2. All right, so finally, to put it in proper form, -50. This is going to be the square root, and that's going to be a square root. So since they're both square roots, I'm just going to put them under one big square root. M to the 3rd power, right? And then n to the 1st power. So that lovely thing in pink is the correct answer to number 10. Please make sure that you know how to use your calculator, right? You know how to use the exponent button, the square root button, and then that x root button, right? Make sure you know how to use these 3. If you know how to use those, you'll be good. Make sure you took good notes. Make sure you have the answers to these written down. And be prepared for that quiz tomorrow. Make sure you have this paper. Have a great afternoon. Love you guys. Bye.